Hey everyone, I'm so glad you're here at Quest Kids TV. We've got another amazing lesson planned for you as we discover more about contentment. Contentment is learning to be okay with what you have. It's easy to look around and wish you could have things that someone else has. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but often if you think about that way, you find yourself wanting more and more. That's why it's good to remember that God can help us be content and be grateful for what we have. He can help us see all the good things that He is doing in our lives. He can help us be thankful for the things, we know that are true. Like He loves us and He always will be there with us. We have another great story from the Bible that shows why it's important for us to be content. And it's about a man, King Ahab. Ahab is part of a long line of kings that ruled over God's people after the days of King David and King Solomon. Some of those kings listened to God, but unfortunately, most of them didn't. Ahab was one of the kings who didn't follow God. The only person Ahab really thought about was himself. He did things that he wanted, and no one ever told him no, not even his wife, Queen Jezebel. Grab a seat and let's see what God has planned for us today.
The Bible, it's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the book of 1 Kings, chapter 21.
After David and Solomon, many kings ruled the lands of Judah and Israel. Some of them listened to God, but most did not. King Ahab was worse than any other king of Israel before him. He only thought of himself and did exactly as he wanted to do.
Do exactly as I want.
Yes, Your Highness. What do you want?
4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and 1... it escapes me. Just bring me some pears flambé.
No one ever said no to King Ahab, not even his wife, Queen Jezebel.
Am I the most fabulous king to ever rule this land?
Yes, of course, because you have me.
King Ahab was certain he had everything he could ever want. That is, until he took a drive into the neighboring town of Jezreel.
Ooh, just look at that lovely vineyard. It is perfection. Stop at once.
King Ahab examined the green leafy vines and the heavy bunches of grapes.
What fantastic fruit. The soil must be excellent. You, over there.
Who, me?
Who, me, your majesty?
Who, me, your majesty?
Of course, you. Do you own this fine vineyard?
I do, your majesty.
Excellent. You must sell it to me at once, and I shall turn it into a vegetable garden.
No,
Excuse me?
your majesty.
I'll pay good money. I'll trade you a better vineyard.
I said no, your majesty. May the Lord keep me from giving you the land my family handed down to me.
You... what? No.
King Ahab was enraged. When he returned to the palace, he threw himself down on his bed and refused to eat anything, even date cakes dipped in honey.
Why are you in such a bad mood? Why won't you eat anything?
Naboth won't give me his vineyard.
Oh, snap out of it. You're the king. I'll get you that vineyard.
Queen Jezebel was just as bad as her husband, or maybe worse. She wrote a letter to the leaders of Naboth's town.
Here is your mission, which you must accept. Number 1, announce a special day and give Naboth an important seat. 2, have 2 bad guys sit across from Naboth and claim that he cursed God and the king. 3, drag Naboth out of the city and throw stones at him until he dies. That should clear.
Queen Jezebel sent her message, and the leaders of Naboth's town followed it, to the letter.
Tell the queen, mission accomplished.
Queen Jezebel was delighted by this terrible news and immediately went to find King Ahab.
Oh, woe is me. Naboth won't give me.
Get up! Take over Naboth's vineyard. He's dead.
What? Mine! All mine!
King Ahab ordered his chariot and set off at once for Jezreel.
We'll rip out these annoying vines, plant peas, parsnips, potatoes.
But even as Ahab garden partied, God spoke to the prophet Elijah.
Go down to see Ahab. You will find him in Naboth's vineyard. Ahab has gone there to take it over.
God gave Elijah a special message for the king. Elijah had faced Ahab before and knew the king would not be pleased to see him.
Okay, here goes.
Elijah traveled to Jezreel and found Ahab in the vineyard.
Pull out that row of vines. Dig up the soil.
King Ahab.
The king turned. His eyes narrowed as he spied Elijah.
My enemy, you found me.
The Lord says, haven't you murdered a man? Haven't you taken his property?
No, not me personally. And now he doesn't need it anymore. So
You've done what is evil in the sight of the Lord. The Lord says, I am going to bring horrible trouble on you. You have caused Israel to sin.
Oh.
For once, Ahab listened to a message from God. He tore his clothes, a sign of great sorrow for what he had done. He put on the clothing people wore to show sadness.
No food.
Not even date cakes dipped in honey?
Not even date cakes dipped in honey.
King Ahab and Jezebel had made themselves miserable, taking more and more. And in the end, both of them paid for it.
Wow, did you ever think you wanted more and more could make you miserable? That was definitely true about King Ahab. He really wanted that vineyard. But he and Queen Jezebel did something terrible. And, well, they made their lives miserable. They had to face the consequences for the terrible things that they had done. The truth is, all of us can struggle with wanting more and more. But we have to remember that we only find true contentment in our relationship with God. We have to remember that we can trust God no matter what. Our memory verse this month is something Jesus said to a whole crowd of people. We can find it in the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 15. Then he said to them, watch out, be on your guard against wanting more and more things. Life is not made up of how much a person has. It's so true. Our relationship with God is so much more important than the stuff we have. To discover more, head on over to the Quest Kids Children's page at our church's website. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.